Jeff Burcham and Gretchen Mamel have been working with our kids on Fridays. It's been a big help to me. They will arrange tours for the kids. They'll arrange job shadowing. They've been trained with FAFSA, so to help answer some of those questions because, you know, wearing the hat of career and guidance counselor along with principal, some days I think, oh, it's not a big deal, and other days it seems a little much. So it is wonderful to have that support for our kids. And positive comments from the kids because they can email Jeff and Gretchen and arrange it ahead of time. So Jeff and Gretchen, when they come in on Fridays, will have the materials that the kids need. And we've taken room D110. If you walk down that highway on the outside of the room, it'll say career and coaching room, and really gave it the flavor with career materials, college materials for the kids. And then whenever I get freebies, I put them in there so Jeff and Gretchen can hand those out to the kids. Women of Today sponsored a career fair for our sophomores in the multi-purpose gym. I was able to get down there for a while. What a wonderful experience for our kids. They go through basically what living expenses are, and you pick a job and what your income would be, and there were groups to meet with for insurance. There were groups to meet with, like the Humane Society. If you decide you want a pet, do you really have an idea of how much it's going to cost? You know, you get your pet, and then all the fees really come after as you have it. So, and then there were different companies there for the kids to visit with possible careers. So really lots of positive feedback from the students who participated. Our choir concert took place on November 23rd, and our band concert is scheduled for tomorrow night. It'll be junior high, senior high, and then the soloists who competed in contests will also perform their pieces. So looking very much forward to that. The World's Best Workforce, which you approved in the Achievement Integration Report, which you approved at the last board meeting, I have that submitted, so we can check that big one off our box. Until sometime January, February, I'll call the committee together to look at goals and then forge ahead for this next school year until September. And then Student Council is going to be sponsoring holiday dress-up days and some activities, and that'll take place next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I believe they have told the elementary teachers, they said they were going to get the word out to them too, so if the elementary students want to dress up. But Monday is going to be Grinch Wear Green Day, and Tuesday Christmas PJs, and then Wednesday you can't get through the week without an ugly sweater day, so ugly Christmas sweaters, I should say. And then similar to homecoming week, where we take a period and do some activities, on Wednesday we are going to have a winter pep fest, so our winter sports coaches, and we're also including like Knowledge Bowl and our one-act play, so we can recognize those students. And then we're going to end the day with bingo. We did that last year, and it was very, very well received by the students, so we're going to end with bingo again this year. And that's it. Any questions for me?
Can I ask a question about the math position?
Oh yeah, like how I skipped over that?
Because I see we have a resignation, and
we have a resignation. So yes, Mr. Flores will be staying in the community, but he is going into the business world and doing research, which is his area in science. But Diane Carlos, who was our backup plan this summer, and Diane does have that middle school math license, so she is qualified in that area. So Diane, I'm going to call it in the interim, will be our math teacher for our 7th, 8th graders and our geometry students, and I'm very comfortable and confident, and she and Mr. Flores are going to be meeting before his final day, which will be next Wednesday, so it should be a very smooth transition. The kids know about it, and they've been very matter-of-fact about it because a lot of them know Mrs. Carlos, so I'm confident with that. Position has been posted on EdPost, and I have contacted, I have to think now, North Dakota State, Moorhead State, Bemidji, and Concordia, and they are getting the word out. There were two of them that they had a couple kids who were finishing this semester, but they've already taken some jobs, but they said that they'd encourage it again in the spring. So if we're looking at needing to get by, I shouldn't say get by, but to have Mrs. Carlos in that position through second semester, confident at least then we'll be able to get our name out there first for kids who will be graduating come spring.
Where does that leave us short with that move?
Yeah, it'll be subs. Diane has been, you name it, the day comes up, she goes in those positions and fills in. So that is where we will be short.
Did she do enrichment as well?
Well, I know she started out that way, Jeff.
We don't have much of enrichment right now.
Okay.
We have some people kind of taking bits and pieces of it, but we don't have the staff to do our normal pull-out program. We're trying to hit more of the events type thing. We do have spending meet coming up on January
18th, I want to say.
So we're trying to hit some of those big things. But Diane also worked with some of our long-term homebound kids. So I'm going to make sure that those kids are getting services. So.
Okay, thank you. Crystal, business office.
Well, I don't have a lot to report for the monthly budget report, but we are purchasing a new snow plow vehicle, which is $30,000. 37. But we are going to move funds around because we did budget for $84,000 for bus leases, and we actually have $64,000 in payments this year. So we're going to do that and piggyback it with our equipment budget. Otherwise, the monthly budget report itself is the top. But we are not approving the actual audit report today. We have the draft report that I posted in the working session. They didn't think they could get it turned around by today to have it finalized, but we increased our fund balance by $588,000, and our findings were as the same. Internal controls, we don't have enough staff, and then student activity accounts. I moved the funds from the class of 2021, but I didn't actually close out all of the accounts, so that was one of the findings. The $588,000 is based upon the transmission line was around $400,000, and then we had a donation for $120,000. So that's basically where the fund balance increase came from. And we don't know if we're for sure going to get that same amount every single year or not. I've talked to the accountant about it. They don't really know until the state. But we're at our 25% down.
We got there somehow. So
I'm not confident in it all the way, but yes, we
So-
got there.
we're not approving the audit tonight.
No,
We'll do it in January,
correct.
but
So tonight is the draft report, and like they said, there's probably not going to be any significant changes to it, but I did feel confident approving the draft report versus the final report. So we finalized the audit on November 30th, and we had to MDE. They will get it done to the state by December 31st. So we'll be good with all the deadlines.
In terms of the findings, it seems like, and you guys on the finance committee might be more tuned to that, but it is always a recurrent theme of the same things. Basically, we don't have enough staff to create a good checks and balance system in there.
Yeah, we're gonna always have that.
And they seem to recognize that this time. I mean, they
Yes.
almost, in their paragraph, offered up a forgiveness and said that this size school district is just not a feasible situation. And then the student, that's always been a hassle. You know, that if they don't, I mean, the thing to do is tell those class reps to spend that money, isn't that? I mean, that would be the real solution.
Yes, but to be honest with you, part of that is probably my fault because I left in that area this past year because I was dealing with other stuff. So I wasn't super concentrated on making sure all that was going on. As far as everyone signing stuff and all of that, so.
And the big question, how can there not be a notion of how, I mean, does the property tax on the transmission line change? I mean, how does that work?
How do they not know that?
I don't know.
In the finance, I don't know if you were
I
there,
was
but-
listening, you know, part of that, but it was something that I read and came up and said, how come they can't, we've been bugging them for a number for the last 6 months, you know, how do you budget? Like you guys said, it's a con budget, if it's gonna be a lawn dart kind of situation. You know, is it 20,000 this year and 200 the next, you just don't know.
I mean, I would think that you could say that it's gonna maintain around the same amount. But I would not feel confident in budgeting for that.
And who do you go to get that answer? I mean, that's,
I've tried,
I mean, you don't go to our auditor at the county level.
I've tried,
She tried, yeah.
I
I'm not sure
tried.
how they assess it, because it can't be just on land value. Utility, I don't know if it's based on income.
Yeah, like if it's the dollar amount of the value of the electricity.
There's a formula they use,
Yeah.
and I've read a little bit on it, but I don't understand. But I think the utility, they can always petition the state to change it. They feel they're being overly taxed.
Sure.
So I think there's a process that might take a few years for them to iron out what the appropriate assessment would be.
And we'll probably in the long run do what we do with con, which is do a 5-year average, or what
Right,
did you say?
correct, yes.
Okay. Fair enough. It's nice to have it. We're at that fund balance number, so nice to be a little bit.
I mean, I feel confident with our draft audit report this year.
And we did talk at the finance meeting about, you know, maybe we can even get a high and low. So Crystal will have something for budgeting before we get a 5-year average or a 3-year average, so. Don't know for sure, but.
I know it just makes me nervous, but.
And I think Robin had some ideas on who to contact at the state, and I just haven't followed through.
She did, but then
Remember that?
she like went through and looked at some stuff too, and she's like, oh, that doesn't match anything what you're showing me, so. I don't know.
Anyway.
What counted as a really Christmas score?
Yeah.
So this
It's in the
counted as good for this
It
year.
does sort of make you just sort of flinch a little bit. Okay, this is good. Any other questions for Crystal? Okay, moving on to Activities Director, Community Ed, Sam Lyon.
Yes, this is what I passed out last minute, it's in front of you. The report and then the extravaganza formal report. So we'll start with that. You heard an informal report the last time we were here, but this is a breakdown of kind of everything that happened, vendor numbers, attendance, expenses, and profit. I have learned through Cece and Lisa that it is not a fundraiser. They very much consider it a community service, which I really like, actually. It's something that Community Ed puts on as a service to the community. There are other groups within this whether it's the Scholastic Book Fair or the JO Volleyball or whomever, Salvation Army, who are doing their own fundraising in and around this event, but in terms of community ed, it's not a moneymaker for us. I think there are some opportunities potentially to do a little bit of fundraising, but I do like the fact that it is something that the school and community education do for the community. So, you can read down the list of all of the pieces, a few highlights, of course. Bertle and Kyle Abendroth were incredibly helpful. Bertle has done this for many years. Kyle was learning the ropes this year. Just really great to have around as help in and around the building and set up to make this thing possible. And then, obviously the biggest shout out is to Lisa and Cece in terms of all of their work and conception of all of this. They've been in this for many years, and it's a great event because of it. So, I'll leave you with all the details. Lots of shout outs from students to other groups who made that possible. It's a great event that the school puts on. Other highlights in community ed. Elementary basketball started last week, and it was totally impressive, like very surprising outcome. I helped coach on Wednesday with the kindergarten through second graders, and it was total chaos, yet super fun in that gym. We had over 31 kindergarten through second graders, to the extent, though, that we were actually splitting out the second and third grade into their own group, own co-ed group, so that they get a little bit more specialized instruction. I thought that this breakdown that I provided there would be a helpful idea of where those numbers are coming from, and then the percentages are what percent of each of those classes is participating in elementary basketball. And so my opportunities and challenges at the bottom of that section, we have a ton of interest in an activity like this. The question now becomes, in my head, is retention. Like, how do we keep those kids at the elementary level in this activity? And that, in my first year, obviously, I'm going to be taking a lot of notes and paying attention to how do we make that feasible. I think some ideas about how to do that, but I'm really encouraged by the fact that there are people showing up. So, challenges in that realm are also, and you'll see a recurring theme here, are volunteerism. Struggled to find coaches, and I'm incredibly appreciative of those who have stepped up. Andrew Pearson is running the K through 1 group. Andrea Nylander is running the second and third grade group. Charlie Wells is running the boys 4th and 5th, and Gary Moeller and Dale Breeny are running the girls 4th and 5th grade team. It was a little bit of a hairy moment there. We were starting the programs without coaches, which is, we had some movement on practice times and groups because of that this week. I think we'll figure it out. I think we'll get into a groove and it'll be good, but if you have ideas or feedback about how to make that feasible. I mean, I'm scheming with Gary Moeller a little bit on, do we create a position within community ed to help run that stuff? You know, pay them a stipend, you know, not a ton of money, but a stipend throughout the course of the winter. I don't know, ideas like that are, as we go through this first year, like I said, I'm taking notes.
Well, another thing that's really good to see is that you have a really good percentage of each class that's participating.
Right.
So, you know, to be able to look at that information and to see how that follows throughout the years, and very encouraging to see the high numbers in the 4th and 5th grade.
Yes, and we've got very strong crews of basketball players in those. And you'll see, like, the first grade, I think, it's a smaller class, number 1, but it's also got some hockey players in it, too.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's interesting how each class kind of ebbs and flows with some of that. Okay, moving on to activities director stuff. Like Mary said, we've got a band concert tomorrow. These are the team breakdowns for each. I did forget one act play. They're doing 2 plays this year, 1 comedy and 1 drama. We're actually hosting subsection performances here on January 29th, so we're excited to be hosting that. Teams from across the subsection will be coming to perform. So, and that'll be open to the public as well. So it'll be a really cool opportunity to be in that auditorium space. Opportunities and challenges on the activities director side of things, we have really committed coaching staffs in this winter, and in all of our seasons we do, but excited about, you'll see, you're confirming Rylan Hendrickson and Monty Googles on our boys basketball. Katie Piper and Dale Breeny have been around for forever in the girls basketball realm. Don Kraus, obviously a strong contender in that in the boys hockey side of things. Really committed crews of coaching staffs that are kind of putting a lot of time and effort into their teams, which I appreciate. Again, challenges are specialized volunteers. I have spent a lot of hours trying to find junior high basketball refs. So if you know anyone and know anyone who will say yes, please let me know. It's like tonight, Rylan Hendrickson, as the varsity coach, is reffing the junior high game before he coaches varsity. And that is not for lack of asking. I think last week's boys basketball game, I totaled 30 people that I'd asked. And Kurt Storbeck stepped up. Justin Shiro stepped up, having never reffed a game. I was the next in line, knowing barely anything about basketball. So, going to be a warm body. So that's, again, volunteerism, and mostly specialized volunteerism. Like, on other ends, I've got ticket takers for most of my winter season already, or clock runners, or things like that. But it's that kind of specialized piece that we're still looking for. Okay, activity bus. We had low numbers in our first week last week, but I think we're getting a little bit of interest as people kind of work it into their schedules. I have done a little bit of work now starting to single out families who expressed interest. So, hey, you wanted an activity bus. Here we go. This is the process, helping them sign up, make sure we get waivers in and things like that. Challenges are scheduling. We're not doing this on an everyday basis, so does the schedule we've selected work for the people who need it? And I think that's what we're trying to figure out. The constant back and forth of how much do we cater to people? We've had some folks say, like, hey, if you ran by the town arena after the Bantam game, you'd pick up another couple of kids. And I'm like, oh, okay, potentially, but do we want to open that door? And so Brad and I are in kind of back and forth conversation about how do we do that and do that well. So, yeah, I think it's one of those things that'll take a little bit to get going, and I've already got 2 families I think signed up for this week, which is more than we had last week. So, yeah, just making it happen. Any questions on any of that?
You didn't touch on archery.
Oh, I was just going to mention that it's happening. Nordloff
okay.
runs that every year and usually has a really good turnout of 15 kids. They'll do that through probably mid-March, and they'll go on a couple specific shoots. So they go and have go-to archery contests in different parts of northern Minnesota. So a local program we've done for a number of years.
With the bus, are we running 2 routes still?
Yep.
And we're not doing anything crazy like running an empty bus, are we?
No.
Okay,
No.
just checking.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah. Dawn is driving, so she can speak to maybe some specifics of that. But, we had a student last week whose dad said, hey, she's outside and she can't find the bus. And so I was at the basketball game. I said, hey, okay, it's over. He literally was like pointing to her as you walked through.
Very good.
So I think it takes some of that, like getting people comfortable with what it is and how the
He says a
system
lot from
works.
their activities program that I can't find a place to park the bus outside.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in the parking lot, but hopefully the other bus will show up and like to block and people will see it.
It is the minibus, so hopefully it's pretty obvious that that's the thing you're supposed to get on.
There's a lot of people that live in their activities.
Yeah, it's good. So, other questions?
Okay, fairly thorough, thank you. Seth, Buildings Grounds.
I got on there for updated snow removal. Last Monday when we had the snowstorm, I came in and worked in the morning and took care of that. Brad's gonna be on call, I think, for this coming Wednesday, and my 4-hour afternoon custodian. He expressed interest in doing that. I said he used to do it years and years ago, but he was only working 4 hours during the day. That's his only shift, so they trained him in, he'd be up to doing that too. And then, we're in the process, we're still working on trying to get a job description together to get it posted and see if anybody outside can get more than just one person involved in that for backup and stuff. That's all where we're at with that.
What are you using for plowing now? You don't have the truck yet, do you?
No, we still have the, one that we've been using, but after that first snowstorm, in between the two, between labor and parts, we've got what, over $500 into it. So it's time to go. You can lift the floor mat and see the ground underneath. Time to replace it.
Fred Flintstone, huh?
I do gotta give a shout out to the county. They're, on the northeast side, we got drifted in so bad because of those high winds. Hauled them up in the morning, within 15 minutes they were out there and they busted them all out.
Nice.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a tremendous help and a big, big time saver.
Okay. I don't see Brad. Anybody have a discussion on that, thought on that?
I think she covered it, yeah.
Sam covered that.
Okay, and then, just, just for you say low numbers, Dawn, what's the most kids you've had on that activity bus so far? Have you had half a dozen?
No.
Not yet,
No.
okay. Should I stop asking?
Yeah.
All right. All right, food service.
So this is what Casey and Jesse report. Judy Beckman is now the manager in the Bears Den. They've had 3 games and they've earned $400 to $700, which does get divided between whoever's working. They have 17 games total. They should be coming up. And then Cece said they have a Tuesdays at 2 tomorrow, which is about, the lunch program from next year. And she's thinking that we will be moved to the national lunch program versus the summer, what is it? Summer SSO.
Yeah.
Summer seamless. Yes, whatever. But yeah, so she's thinking that's what that's gonna be about. And that's what they had to say.
So we're not gonna have everybody has the free.
Freezing, correct. They don't know for sure, but that's what the webinar is about tomorrow.
The national would not be free?
No, that's when you do it, when you actually do the free reuse applications, and then so,
Okay.
So you'd have to qualify for it.
correct.
Okay.
Everybody
It's
would
not
be.
like, it's not that
Right.
everyone is gonna have it free, yes.
Do you know how staffing is going at the Bears Den as far as volunteers and?
I think it's been good. There's a crew of Outback, there's a dance crew going to the Outback Bowl next summer, I don't, in a while. And so there's been parents who have jumped onto that. And they need 2, maybe 3 people at a time, so, haven't run into any issues yet, mostly I think because that group is really willing to kind of jump into it.
Sure.
And I've heard of a couple other community groups, like there's a church youth gathering, the Lutheran church is probably youth gathering in the summer, and so they're considering doing a couple nights here and there, so. Yeah, Judy and I have been in contact about it.
Okay.
She has half her schedule filled.
Oh.
So.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, I'm encouraged by that, because I was nervous.
Yeah.
So,
Filled with people who are actually interested in doing it, not
Yeah.
being,
yes,
Cause she sent her schedule to me of who she has signed up.
Oh,
Cause
that's right.
the youth association is probably going to take a couple nights.
oh, the Williams group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm appreciative that there are non-school groups who are willing to do that, because I think the school staff in general gets tapped for a lot of stuff like that. You know, when I send out asking for game workers, that's my first kind of pitch. So appreciate that there are non-school folks who are willing to step in and do it. So
are we doing a school board night?
Oh, I
Is that
don't
what we
know.
talked about last time?
Well, we talked about it, but that's sort of the twisting of the arm. Like I said, if there are people who want to step in, I'm excited for that. I mean, that's,
Well, and they get
We
the
just
money.
gotta get your face out there, Tim.
yeah.
Then you guys have to figure out where the money goes.
Well, I still think we should. I mean, I think that there's a day we'll pick the one that doesn't fill, I guess.
You guys can have your concession.
I'm sure we could.
Not let you get out of it.
Been there, done
What's your
that.
30 hours? Is that what you gotta do? 30 hours? 50 hours.
Well, don't you have to do 15 for each child?
No. It's not that bad, guys.
I just had to throw that in.
The manager, but then I stepped down.
That's what you get.
I thought we had to do more than 15. You only have to do 15?
It just
Huh.
feels like.
Your firstborn male child, you got a lot to give. All right, that is what we've got on the docket at the moment. Anybody want to discuss something else before we hang out for 15 minutes, I guess?
I was gonna say, I've had 3 parents come and compliment on Ryland Hendrickson coaching basketball. They're very excited to see him interacting with the children the way he is and his enthusiasm.
Good.
That sounds good. Yeah.
It helps when you win in exciting fashion too, doesn't it? I mean, we're gonna put a paper mache statue up of him, at least until the next rainstorm, or the next loss, whichever comes first.
Yeah, they're playing tonight, so.
Yeah,
if you
I'd be
get done in
curious, I was
time,
gonna stick
that's
my
it.
head and see what the crowd looked like.
Yeah.
It was, one of the parents just said the way he talks to the kid, their son has come home excited about it, you know.
Well, that's the way it should be, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing I noticed, like at the hockey game, you noticed that too, the crowds were decent. I mean, we got a good crowd there, we had, a couple hundred people, but it's nice to get past that COVID thing where people can go and see these things occurring again and put crowds in there, and I'm not jinxing us, I hope, but it's just nice to have crowds again, it just is pleasant.
I'll say that too for the student crowd showing up at basketball games, which is historically not always a super well-attended event in terms of students, but when this was one of the games last week at the boys' games, there wasn't a hockey or girls' basketball game, and I would say almost all of those teams were both at that game, which I think is a testament to the student population also in terms of showing up for their classmates.
That's a
So,
That's
good
nice.
trend
Yes.
right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's coming from
Sam, and I asked you about, you do grade 6 and apply for the activity bus, right?
Yeah, I think we're at this point where we'll take anybody who wants to
Because
ride.
I would chuck my kids on that bus.
Yeah, I think at this
I
point,
mean, if that was a possibility.
if you're comfortable with that and they're clear on where they have to be and what they have to do, if I have to do, I mean, you get on the bus here, you get off here,
And Dawn knows my kid, she can go.
yeah.
What time is the activity?
You're aware.
It's 5:45 and 7:45, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. And that's timed after the kind of varsity basketball practices. So,
Reason I'm wondering if we're gonna be running that, I wanna make sure we got an area cleared for the bus. It's more important for the bus to be out front here to pick up kids.
well, I think Dawn will take it for sure.
How do we do that though?
Don't know yet.
We should designate it a fire lane, that way people couldn't
Well, I
park there.
think
We
people
don't even
still
have
park
to
in the fire
designate
lane.
It is a fire lane.
lane.
It's been that, I mean,
I've looked at that.
Pretty
It
sure
is a
there's
fire
probably
line.
signs that say no parking as well.
all the way down.
All the way down. And it's yellow.
Since the beginning of time, since the school's been built.
Well,
people
and I
have
think one of the things is there's a sign that says, no parking between this time and this time. And so maybe
Get rid of that.
get rid of that, or just say, no parking in the fire lane.
I thought
No
there
parking.
were fire lane signs even there, that's what I thought. I'm pretty sure there's no parking.
But they're on the inside lane.
Yeah, they're on the inside
Yeah.
lane, so then people
On the
park
other
along
one,
the
it's for bus
sidewalk.
parking. I did talk to Jeff a while ago, and I guess I got sidetracked on a lot of things with the other things, is getting no parking signs or put fire lane signs, put them on this side, right underneath all the bus parking signs.
Is that
Oh, yeah.
a buildings and grounds
Well,
discussion?
this
and it just
discussion
needs to
came up
happen?
and, My son Gabriel, when he was
Just
taking
need to
his
get the sign.
driver's license test,
But you know,
that was the
I mean,
question
it's
he missed.
misleading when that.
If a curb's
when that
painted
notice
yellow,
is
can you
telling
park there? It's like, yeah. I told him, that only works in Baudette.
You're not the first one I've heard that from.
You were very successful in clearing out the back alley, though. I mean, that had that same history of parking, and
Well, that was a team effort is what that was. That's for sure. You know, we had to get everybody together on the same page.
They still have
Just say
sores
we're
on their
done.
back.
The snowdrift helps a lot.
Yeah, strategically placed snowdrifts.
anybody wants to take a break, feel free to wander in and out. Truth and Taxation is gonna keep us to a 7 o'clock deadline here.
Yeah, great.
There is people out there, you know.
Is there really? Really?
Sam, don't you have some questions about the taxation?
No, I don't. As I keep running up the door.
I just had to say that for Crystal.
I know, I'm waiting for the time.
Do you
to
guys have,
actually
do you
change
guys
it.
have claim forms there? Crystal, do you have any claim forms?
Oh, yes, I do.
Then you're gonna have to actually,
That's what
we were talking
that- is
about
that
how
what
do
it's
you
called, a claim
enforce
I don't know, that's what I.
Time sheet.
or do it.
That's an old
When you
thing
can,
from
I
when
think
worked
people
for the
will
county
do it once you kinda get them
25,
used
30
to it,
years ago.
but you gotta, I mean, how many years have they been doing it? It's gonna take a while to break
Since
the
1992.
habit.
Pretty much. Get a Gary Fish.
Yeah.
Walk in, rotate through and start handing out tickets.
Well,
Well, I don't know if, okay, so it's private, I mean, it's open to the public, but it's a private road. I don't know if we can do something or not.
It's a fire lane.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a fire hazard
Oh,
by
yeah.
having things parked there.
well,
I
and
mean,
it-
if we had a fire in the school, we'd have
It'd
a,
be real easy to get the fire marshal to say, hey, you guys do what you have to do to get that done.
I was telling Jeff too, when we first moved here, it's like, okay, oh, we gotta park here and stuff like that. All of a sudden, it's like all these cars are parked in the fire lanes, like, okay.
how do you handle that when, people use it for a pickup spot, which I think is nice, cause
Yeah.
it keeps the
Yeah,
kids from
yeah.
crossing. So it's nice if the person is sitting in their vehicle, vehicle's running, you're ready to get your kid,
That is fully okay.
but,
During the school day, I'd rather have them on the north side. Not avoid the bus. Because in the morning, sometimes you get people dropping off.
yeah,
Well, I think there's even something saying that between the hours, don't go down it, but obviously nobody pays attention to that.
no.
And if law enforcement does come and they'll swing in with this and say, do that, and I've gone out and done that.
Yeah. But that's morning, and I understand that, but the evening pickups, it's really nice to be able to park there, but then it's becoming a problem of parking there,
Yeah.
Correct.
and that's not appropriate.
Well, since we've had all this discussion, I quit parking there when I come to meetings. I park at the parking lot.
So it's just education.
We need signage, and we just need to get it out.
I mean, I just.
Yeah.
Even
think, you
today,
know,
I
yeah.
parked in the parking lot
Yes,
as well.
I did too.
Yep.
I just
I mean,
need the
Jim
walk,
can't-
so I park
Jim
as far away
always
as
does,
possible.
so.
Yep.
I need the exercise. Yeah, it's no different in front of the hockey arena though, you've got the same thing, and there's people parked there, and you can't see kids walking
No.
out
yeah.
with,
Well,
and it's a problem,
If you
it
stop
really
and
is.
think about it, that young man that got hit out in front of A and I, walked out between two parked cars and got hit because they didn't see him.
So I
You know.
re-upped it and I got
So
the,
I'm just
the
gonna
fire
have to
extinguishers.
It might be.
take both hats on and
I'd say start with the fire marshal and just see what recourse there is, just from that aspect. I mean, that's what it,
Yeah,
that's the angle avenue to go
Yeah,
down.
you don't wanna get him involved unless you absolutely have to.
We can, yeah,
Well, I
we can
just asked
figure
what
this
the
out.
question
you could
is.
give me a letter saying,
Well, I mean,
the fire marshal?
yeah.
Well, I can ask Carl, he's in the fire department,
Just
he
the
could
local fire department could do
talk
it.
with Brad
Brad,
Lavasser's
yeah.
chief.
Rather than go to the state fire marshal.
Or,
Yeah.
I have seen
I wouldn't go to the.
I
one
guess
of the
that's
trucks
what I
with
was
fire
thinking
plates
was
though
talk
parked
to
in the,
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
local fire.
That's different than the,
Yeah,
that's
The block.
different than the fire marshal though.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I was
I
gonna
don't
give him a
mind
hard
going to the
time.
local fire
Yeah.
department, but don't involve the state fire.
Not yet.
Why don't we, I mean, it should be something as simple as, and I know it's gonna sound ridiculous, but putting a Boyd Johnson colored jacket on a board member and standing out there, 2 or 3 of us during a basketball and a volleyball and a whatever, and saying, no, if we, you know, this is fire lane, we can't do this, you know, we're gonna have problems, or we're just done with it. And word will get out, people,
Yeah.
just like they did in the backside.
So do you have a sign-up sheet for this?
Well, I'll be done right after I do the Bears Den that time. I don't know, I hate to keep putting it on somebody else when really, I think we could handle this fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Without being a big, I mean, everybody sees the logic of not doing it.
Yeah, I think like the north side, it was so easy to get on board with that once you start talking about safety of the kids and everything. It's just.
Well, that one was because it was mainly teachers parking there. Here you get the general public.
That's a harder message to
Parking,
get
so
across.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, and could you put something in the local paper?
Yeah, we can send out an alert and.
Yeah. But, you know,
Yeah.
for the. for
But you have
this
to
and-
figure out what you want and what your what your message is and where it is. I think that's maybe a buildings and grounds discussion is have that clearly defined, so it's a very clear message.
It would be helpful, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have the fire marshal come and say, you can't let people have it.
But you mean the local fire chief?
Oh, just have somebody
I don't even think you need
officially
that.
point it
I
out.
mean,
I
it's,
mean, Kirk Costello has been an absolute,
Yeah.
believe it or not, he's been a really big help for me.
it
When
is
he
a
came up
fire
with-
lane.
When he came up and did the inspection, he actually spent more time teaching me what to look for and compliances and stuff than we did extremely well.
I just think once you get it on their state inspection thing,
Mhm.
that it's a different level of reinforcement. Or enforcement, I should say. It's your choice, but
Right.
I wouldn't flag anything and put it on the state fire marshal's calendar.
No,
Can I ask a question that's gonna take up 5 minutes of time anyway? And can I do it with the microphones off, because I think I could offend somebody? Is that possible? I mean, I'm gonna turn my microphone off, but. and start the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 7:03. Truth in taxation.
There you go, Crystal.
I've got no crib notes on it, so is that up to you, Crystal? You're the one.
Okay, so per Minnesota statute, we have to present the current year budget, present the proposed tax levy, and offer public comment. So FY 22's budget is general fund $7,207,905, expenses $7,207,905. Food service, $311,641, expenses, $311,641, community service, $308,414, expense, $308,251, debt service, $1,106,908, expense, $1,109,805, for a total of $8,934,940 for budget, or for revenue, and $8,937,602 for expense. This is what the levy calendar looks like between June and July. The district provides data to MDE. August, we set the date and location of the TNT hearing, which is the levy hearing. September, we certify the proposed levy. November, we have the TNT hearing. County mails out property tax statements. And December, we certify the final tax levy. Here are the levy components for this year. 2020 paid 2021. General, we had 823,487.65. 2021 paid 2022, which is for fiscal year 23, is 775,608.01. Community service is 35,627. 2021 paid 2022. FY 23 is 33,970.71. Debt service is 2022 paid 2022 was 1,105,882.88, and 2021 paid 2022 for FY 23 is 1,192,564.85. So the total for that we're approving tonight for 2021 paid 2022 FY 23 is $2,273,556. So we are recommending approving the levy for $2,200,173.56. Which when we do the, just a reminder, when we do the levy, it's 21 pay 22 and we actually receive it in 23. And public comment. Got nothing?
No, I was just, one thing I was curious about is how will the new bond issue reflect on the incoming years? Thinking about that. Because the interest should be lower.
So right now, we aren't doing anything with that. We are waiting till
Fiscal year 23.
fiscal year 23 to decide what we're gonna do with that.
Well, good Lord willing, I'll still be here to report.
no other comment, I guess we're moving on. Thank you. All right, agenda. I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the removal of the approval of final audit report for year-end June 30th, 2021, and for the addition of the approval of disposable of technology equipment.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Johnson, second by Ellis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Actually, I didn't do a roll call vote on that.
Don't have to.
All right. I noticed on all these, they're asking for roll call votes, only on the contracts,
That was
correct?
just for,
Revenue from
sorry, that was me.
That's fine.
I didn't.
But I do need a roll call vote on the contracts, don't I? Or is that not?
I think that was just for the Zoom meeting.
When we did them on Zoom, we had to have roll call for everything.
I thought there were certain ones, though, that, yeah, that I thought that contracts, but anyway. Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented, which includes the approval of minutes, the approval of invoices and statements, the approval of personnel resignations, retirements, and appointments, specifically the resignation of Chris Flores, a high school math teacher, and the appointment of Bruce Sindelaire and Steve Bitter as hockey coaches, Katie Piper as a basketball coach, Dale Breeny as a basketball coach, Gary Moeller as a basketball coach, Janelle Lowe's as a basketball coach, Monty Goebbels as a basketball coach, Charlie Wells as a basketball coach, Liz Tangy as senior knowledge bowl, Bobby Joe Castle as junior high knowledge bowl, and Joyce Washburn as the one act place.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
Okay, motion by Ellis, second by Robita. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Board presenters. We have none. Written communications. We have none. Old business. I need a motion and a second to approve the tiered level implementation of the health and safety procedures.
Motion by Johnson.
Motion by Johnson. Second
I'll second.
by Ellis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Under new business, need a motion and a second to adopt the resolution 2021-22-013 to establish combined polling places for the year 2022.
Motion by Johnson.
Motion by Johnson, actually, second by
Trask.
Trask. I did not ask for discussion on the other topics. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to certify the final property tax levy.
I'll motion it.
Motion by Robita,
Second by Johnson.
second by Johnson. We are short one member today, so feel free to chime in. Any further discussion? Pardon me?
No.
Crystal wants to decrease it? Okay.
Increase it.
Aren't we certifying the max? I mean, that really isn't a number. It's just the max. We're certifying whatever it is we can get. All right. It doesn't mean, right, just so my English brain doesn't understand that the right way, but we're certifying the max. We don't always use the max, though, do we?
Yeah, every year.
We do go to the?
Yep,
Okay.
every year we go.
It just gives us the right to go that far, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Need a motion and a second to set the organizational meeting for January 3rd at 7:30 a.m.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Motion by Johnson, second by Lyon. Any further discussion? Good luck in Florida.
I just have a question on that. Will we be holding 2 regular board meetings, like the COVID ones?
Yes.
And then the regular?
So we'll have 3 meetings, is what you're saying, is what you're asking?
Well, or could you do the COVID update at that meeting?
At the January 3rd.
It's too early in the morning to do the COVID update, because he doesn't, well, he doesn't meet with,
Wait a
he
minute.
doesn't meet with Kay
That's true.
until 1 or 2 o'clock, so.
Yeah. That won't work probably.
Did you say Robita's gonna be gone during that meeting?
No, she'll be back.
We are flying into a mid-year.
We don't necessarily have a board chair already.
On the 2nd.
We're close, we were close there.
Unless you want to.
See.
Yeah. Do the organization meeting on the 10th. At 6 o'clock.
Is there a reason you can't do it on the 10th?
Are we
No, I
supposed to
just
do
was
it early
looking
as
at limit
possible?
meetings
Like,
for
You're
January.
supposed to
Supposed to do it on the first Monday
They-
in January.
January.
just stick
Well,
with
then
that.
keep it there.
Yeah, just,
It's a short meeting.
I tried to cut a meeting for you, but
I love meetings.
You got it to 7:30 anyway, we're half an hour later. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Need a motion and a second to, do I need a roll call vote?
Let's just do roll call.
All right. Motion and a second to approve the MSEA contract for non-certified staff contract for the years 2021 through 2023.
motion by Johnson.
I'll second that.
Motion by Johnson, second by Ellis. And I'm going to ask for a roll call vote, just so we're covering that properly. Ellis,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Trask,
aye.
Sonstergaard, not present. Lyon, yes. Robita.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the Lake of the Woods Education Minnesota contract for the 2021 to 23 year certified staff contract.
No motion.
Did we need to have any discussion?
Oh, I apologize, I skipped over that. Discussion on the, we already voted on it.
I know, but I just wanted to stop you before you got too far on the next one,
Yep, I appreciate that.
which is no big deal. I didn't have any discussion. I just thought we should.
Okay, appreciate that. Let's, motion and a second to approve the LWEM 2021 through 23 certified staff contract.
Yeah, motion.
Motion from Levy.
Robita, okay.
Trask, second.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. Once again, Robita.
Aye.
Lyon, aye. Sonstergaard not present. Trask,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the ASME 2021-2023 staff contract.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis,
Second by Johnson.
second by Johnson. Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote again. Lyon, aye. Robita.
Aye.
Sonstergaard not present. Johnson.
Aye.
Trask.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay, and I think we're back to group votes here. I need a motion and a second to approve the lease agreement with Trina Walton, daycare provider.
I'll make that. Whoops, go ahead. Johnson.
Motion by Ellis, I'll second it.
Ellis and Johnson. Any further discussion?
When is that starting?
I don't know.
I think she's in there right now.
This December
Oh, she's already
1.
in there?
And I just had a question on there's notes on as far as,
Yep.
As far as the property, I noticed
Yeah.
that too.
my brain's not working to describe what I'm seeing, but,
Oh, you mean in terms of the damages or whatever?
Yes.
that
I
are-
went through and looked at it.
confirmed
I
and,
did also.
okay, and that was her notes, just to kind of document, to make sure
Yep.
everything's
Uh-huh.
on them. Okay.
Yep.
Sounds
And does
appropriate.
that put us where we want to be with daycare, or do we continue to look for more?
I think we're still short, as far as the community.
I mean, they'd like us to do another one?
I don't know if they have space for another one, they might have, but I think the need for daycare is still there.
Oh,
And I'm
it's
not
still
sure-
there.
I'm not sure the school can carry all of it.
Kidding me? I need another adult with me. I could do a daycare, I need a wingman.
Well, it is kind of a
Okay.
cart and horse question, though, I mean, you hear people talk about that, maybe they're not being legit, but about A, having children, or B, moving to the community because we have daycare. You know, so I think that that's an important component. I don't know if, you know, the legitimacy of those, but it seems to me that if we can make more people bring kids to our community in one fashion or another, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure if, when we go to the discussion between providing individual providers space, you know, do we run out of space, or do we start looking at, can we service more kids with a childcare center?
You mean like its own separate entity?
That didn't work out when we looked at that whole
The
building.
Lyman's
Lyman.
building is not,
Too much money.
it's not gonna meet the needs, I guess.
Mhm.
So that would look at space in the school. We do have some classrooms that aren't used. The needs of what you would have to have for a childcare center. You get down to the question, do we move kindergarten classes out of their rooms to put in a childcare center and shuffle kids around? And so it's a whole bunch of things to discuss and look at what's best for the school and the community.
And putting together a center, doesn't that require more of a state level
There's,
requirements we have to
there's-
meet compared
yes.
to just a daycare, which is county level?
Yep, daycares are quicker and easy with the school, we're just providing space. The childcare center, we have to look at
Yeah, there's a lot of,
administration and staffing, and there's a lot to.
there's a lot of regulation, yeah. I mean, probably the only thing you'd have here, you know, is the food. You know, you'd have a licensed kitchen that,
And there's
could
there's
provide
money
the
out there,
food,
there's
but, yeah.
grants and stuff, but it'd be a pretty good big undertaking from the school to get that lined up.
yeah.
I mean, I haven't given up hope on it, but I think if we can fill some of the need now that we have to get through the current situation, that's,
Have the superintendent look into it in his spare time.
Yeah.
That was said very facetiously.
so,
All
We're
right.
gonna have another vacant building uptown, so you could consider that, I suppose.
Oh, the bank?
Yeah.
All right, we're going down the wrong rabbit hole here. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the first reading of policies 102, equal educational opportunity, 406, public and private personnel data, and 413, harassment and violence.
Motion by Trask,
Second by Robita.
Trask and Robita, discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the disposal of technology equipment.
Make that motion.
Johnson? I need a second. No Lyon will second. Discussion.
Is there a list anywhere of what he's
I was gonna say, it's a
disposing of?
fairly,
Right, that's what I was
Yes,
gonna ask.
sorry.
And where's it going?
I mean,
There is, and
no,
they're
there's
actually donating it.
they're going to,
Oh,
okay.
there's a
okay,
policy
awesome.
on how it has.
I mean, that was what I, yeah,
as a late addition to the,
yeah.
That was just today. I think I'll grab it.
I have them here. We'll get you
Okay.
copies.
No, I don't need a copy, I just wanted to make sure that it was documented somewhere on a list, what he's getting rid of. And
It's quite a lot of it Lenovo.
I see that there was, there was an invoice for new ones, so I figured,
That was just after.
So it's all going to the studs group or
I
whatever?
would have to find out exactly.
There you go, kids.
I'm looking at the number of serial numbers right there. There's-
yeah,
Because there's some Kindle Fires, I don't think.
But they're not all computers,
They're
like,
not all
some of
computers.
them are just accessories to the computers as well.
Guess that doesn't look very good for us.
I'm assuming
and
that the
to
book value of all
disposal
those
and
is
not-
zero.
Not
Yeah.
what we're disposing.
Or you buy those under supplies, don't
Yes.
you? Yeah.
And those are all,
What Bill tries to do with getting rid of equipment, just try to find where we can send it where it doesn't cost us anything.
Uh-huh, yeah,
Pain to send it out.
Yeah.
That's what he tries to.
uh-huh.
But I can get a specific list of. what
Yeah, I'm
we
not,
send to
I'm not real worried, personally, I'm not worried about that as much as I just wanted to make sure that there was some documentation of something identifying what was happening with it.
In case somebody questioned.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, no further discussion. I need a vote. All those in favor of disposing of that technology equipment in the appropriate fashion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. I got no other business unless somebody has some. Okay, I am adjourning the meeting at 7:25. It's around somewhere, isn't it?
somewhere.
So you're gonna do daycare in your spare time? Is that what you're gonna do?
on the side.
How you doing?
I think I would.
You weren't your usual enthusiastic self tonight, that's why I asked.
At the same time, so just throw crackers at them while I sew my garments and juice and pouches.